very lucky this morning to be joined by Graeme Beatt, the course manager at Royal Portrush Golf Club. Now, the last time we spoke, I think, Graeme, was last August, and well, the world's changed quite a lot in those 9 months. How are things going for you and your guys in the golf club at these weird times that we're having at the moment?
I suppose in terms of our side of things, we're managing okay. We're lucky enough. There's 7 of us in, and I've got a part-timer and just topping up divots and things like that as well. So we're managing to keep on top of things. In terms of the members and the visitors' revenue, that's completely gone for this year, I think.
I was going to say, Graeme, that time just after the year after an Open is a time when golf clubs make hay, because everybody wants to do a pilgrimage to the golf club and play the same holes that Shane played and tackle the same challenges.
Yeah, and we were really looking forward to this season, because in terms of tournaments and competitions and things, we really didn't have very much on this year. It was back to sort of club competitions, and we had the North of Ireland and things like that. And it was going to be quite a nice year for us, I think. We were fully booked with visitors, and the members obviously were looking forward to the season ahead. And yeah, it's just strange times. And I suppose in a lot of ways, it's only golf, and there's a lot more serious things going on at the moment. But I think the golf course and a game of golf, it's just something that people look forward to all week, and I suppose that's sort of taken away from people at the moment. But we're managing okay. We keep managing to keep the course tidy. We've really replaced a lot of manual jobs, pedestrian mowing and things like that, with ride-on mowing, and we would use lightweight fairway mowers, and that would mean 3 or 4 or maybe 5 people that would be out at a time mowing one course. So it's like a one-man job now, with a larger machine, much heavier, but at the same time it's quite productive. But we've lost a little bit of quality, but not so much that it'll be noticeable for the golfers coming back, I don't think.
I think that's the thing. You've got to make sure that the grass does keep still growing, and it's more like essential maintenance rather than sensational maintenance. I use that phrase in the magazines coming out just now. You've got to make sure you're at a level where you can, when the need comes, to up it to the levels that what you would expect and want.
Yeah,
it's not too much of a leap.
Yeah, I mean, at this time of year, normally we would be doing a lot of overseeding and top dressing and things like that. That eat up staff. We would have had 5 or 6 people on that job alone, and all that's just gone by the wayside. It'll be the autumn before we can sort of do any sort of work like that. But it's fine. It's okay. The course was in reasonable shape, and we managed to get most of our winter projects and things like that finished. So it's just a case of keeping things ticking over, I suppose.
And from a manager's point of view, Graeme, making sure your staff are safe, and I presume they are key workers, that what sort of practices have you had to put in place on the golf course and in the mess room that were different from before?
Really, we were quite quick to sort of put some policies in place with lunch breaks and things like that. And we had lots of hand sanitizers and things like that. People were wiping down equipment before they used it, wiping down when they were finished, wiping down the lunchroom a few times a day. And because we have quite a big team, we'd split up our team. So we had 5 different lunchrooms set up so that we could break the team up into smaller parts. We were using our old greenkeeper sheds for half of the staff and the new greenkeeping sheds for the other half. But then to be honest, it got to the stage where when people went off, it was almost a relief, because the more people you have here, the more vulnerable you're sort of making everybody. And now there's just a few of us. We're able to sort of socially distance, and we're not taking lunch breaks or tea breaks. We're working a shorter day. Everyone will meet in the sheds in the morning and be issued their jobs. and really everyone's using the same equipment. So we've broken up the work so that there would be, each member of staff would maybe have 2 or 3 jobs, 2 or 3 different machines, but no one else is on those machines. It's really strange, but we're managing.
It's unprecedented circumstances. Where do you go and where did you get your advice from as to how best to go forward?
I suppose we were talking to other clubs. We were looking at the government guidelines. Our general manager's been quite good that way as well, and keeping us updated on how things are. But I think we sort of racked our brains and tried to think how best we could do it. And I think we were sort of on it from the start. And the funny thing is, you're seeing golfers out on the course, and you go into the clubhouse, and there's people all sitting around as they always did. And we're all trying to be really, really careful. And to be honest, when things shut down, it felt like it was the right time. Yeah. And as I say, when a lot of the staff went off, it just reduced all of our risk as well, I think.
How is that? Have they been furloughed, part of your staff, Graeme, or have they gone off to self-isolate? What's the situation?
Most of them have been furloughed. And the way that we did it, some of the staff who had any health issues, and I think we've sort of worked it quite well. I chatted to all the staff, and some of them had actually come to me and said, "Look, can I go off because I have this or I have that?" And the ones that are here actually volunteered to be here because they maybe didn't have family members who they were living with that had any issues or things like that. So everyone that's here has been happy enough to sort of be here and stay at work. So it's worked quite well, really.
Now we are 9 months on from the Open. It seems like a lifetime ago. What are your thinking back? I know we spoke, it was after the Open when we did speak, but thinking back, what have your reflections been, your best memories of those fantastic 4 days that you had last July?
I think the atmosphere and when we were out on the course, the first day, the Thursday, I was on the 6th green, and you heard this huge cheer, and you sort of thought, right, this is it. Darren Clarke was going to tee off and hit the first tee shot, and then you had heard another massive cheer, and you're sort of wondering, wonder what that was, and it was Darren making his birdie on the first. That was a great moment. Obviously, the finish, the 18th, that was a great moment. I loved the setup in the morning. It was a time of day when you're sort of out on the course and there's no one around, and all the grandstands and everything, and all the staff doing their thing, and all the volunteers out getting the place set up. That was probably my favourite bit, really, just seeing the course ready for play and polished and looking as perfect as we could get it.
I remember you were saying it was just a little bit too green for your liking. I remember you saying that.
Yeah. July was our wettest month last year. I think we had 180 mil in July. And yeah, it wasn't the sort of look that I'd always imagined it being. I'd imagined it looking almost the way it does now. It's a little bit burnt. And it's probably running quite fast and bouncy, and that's how I pictured it, and that's how I wanted it to look. But I suppose there has to be some sort of acceptance that you can't change the weather.
But that aside, I mean, it was a fairy tale Open in every other regard. Has Shane Lowry been back since the big win to see you all?
I don't think so. Not that I know of. No. I would have hoped he would have been back this season. I've got a flag I want him to sign. But no, I'd love to chat to him. Yeah. If he does, when he does come back. Yeah. But he just played so well. It was amazing.
He seems to be able to raise it at the right. When he won the Irish Open there as an amateur, he doesn't seem to be cowed by the fact that expectation is there. He seems to rise to the occasion. He's done it twice now in exceptional circumstances.
Yeah, and yeah, the conditions weren't easy. You know, for midsummer, it was wet, it was windy, sort of had a bit of every weather condition really, and he just coped with everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, and nobody really came and put him under too much pressure, which was lovely for him.
No, it didn't really work out for Tommy Fleetwood on the last day. The putts just wouldn't go in for him, and I'd like to see him win an Open.
I think he will do. He's a class player. It's probably more likely to be an Open than one of the other ones, but then you never know, do you? You never know. You must be so relieved that your Open was 2019 and not 2020.
Yeah, and I sort of feel for everyone at Royal St George's really, and I've spoken to Paul Larson, and he's really upbeat about the whole thing, and he was saying that, you know, it'll give him a chance to get more seed in and do a lot more work that he wants to do. But yeah, it's that sort of excitement for years, and then all of a sudden, it's all changed. So yeah, I suppose I'm relieved. Yeah.
You know, with the game in general, with regard to what's been happening over the last month, do you think any of the changes that are in place or will become permanent changes with regard to what you've had to put into place with regard to working practices?
When we do reopen, it's going to be limited play. I would imagine it'll be 2 balls, probably spaced out a little bit more as well initially. We're talking about issuing all of the members with hand sanitizer, having hand washing stations and hand sanitizing stations around the course. And then I would doubt we'll have bunker rates and things like that on the course as well initially.